the industry's best lifetime workmanship warranty with every roof we sell. A rock-solid warranty like ours guarantees our reputation and assures your satisfaction. At Semper-Fi, we do the right thing. We seize the moral high ground and we hold it. And when you do that, you end up having a business that's going to last for generations. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper-Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper-Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper-Fi.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Stay up to date with your trusted and relevant source in news, sports, traffic, and weather. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
Good morning, 9:01. We have mostly cloudy skies, 3 degrees, a cold weather advisory in effect for the next hour for all of southeast Wisconsin. A few high clouds today, filtered sun, a few flurries maybe later on with a high today of 15. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. Governor Tony Evers has laid out his vision for the 2025-27 state budget. How much of the proposal will be approved remains unclear.
The governor's budget proposal includes $2 billion in various tax relief measures,
including eliminating income tax on tips.
Measures that appear on the chopping block once the Joint Finance Committee makes their adjustments later this year. Assembly Speaker Robin Voss.
Most of the stuff that's in the budget, the 20% spending increase, the $1 billion in taxes, all of those things, dead on arrival.
State lawmakers have until June 30th to pass the budget before it heads to the governor's desk for signing. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Decision Wisconsin. Voters statewide narrowed the race for state superintendent of public instruction down to 2 candidates Tuesday, with incumbent Dr. Jill Underly set to face education consultant Brittany Kinzer in April. In Milwaukee's 3rd aldermanic districts, 8 candidates were whittled down to 2. Alex Brower and Daniel Bauman gathered around 56% of the vote, and one school referendum fails according to unofficial results in the Kenosha Unified School District, while another passes unofficially in the Waterford Union District. Federal agencies have been moving very quickly with cuts and firings. Now the White House acknowledging some workers have been let go by mistake. Here's ABC's Rachel Scott.
Top officials at the Social Security Administration and Treasury Department resigning after Elon Musk's staff demanded access to sensitive information about millions of Americans. A federal judge refused to immediately block Doge from accessing government data systems. The judge saying there are legitimate questions about what appears to be the unchecked authority of an unelected individual, but said the states who sued failed to show how Doge poses irreparable harm.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams will be in court this morning. A judge ordered the mayor and Department of Justice officials to appear in court to discuss the reasoning for the DOJ ordering the federal corruption case against the mayor dropped. That order's caused a lot of backlash, which includes resignations from federal prosecutors and 4 deputy mayors in the Adams administration. Darrell Brooks, the man convicted of driving into the 2021 Waukesha Christmas Parade, may represent himself again in an upcoming appeal of his 2022 sentencing. Attorney Julius Kim tells WTMJ it can get annoying when someone tries to represent themselves in court.
It can be annoying, only because lawyers tend to streamline things just because they know how to use the right words. They know how to present evidence. They know how to present testimony, et cetera. And people who don't do this day in, day out, they don't really know how to do it, whether they're intentionally trying to be disruptive or whether it's just from a lack of knowledge on how to do things. It just kind of throws, cogs in the wheel here.
Kim says if Brooks does represent himself, the appeals process would take a long time due to Brooks not understanding the legal system in its entirety. An update now on the health of Pope Francis. Here's ABC's James Longman.
Pope Francis has now spent a 5th night in the hospital, but he's now dealing with a much more serious condition, pneumonia in both lungs, and all his appearances cancelled until at least through the weekend. So we're told by a Vatican source that he is spending at least part of the day in an armchair, so that means that he's not totally bedridden. He's also up in the morning having breakfast and reading, so that is some good news, but he's likely to be in the hospital for some time yet.
Time for news now about your money. In the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update, down arrows on Wall Street. Dow is off 155 points. NASDAQ down 87. S&P 500 down 17. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth. Annex Private Client. Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time 9:05.
You're right, and I'll agree. It does sound too good to be true. but offering you affordable treatment that alleviates pain, which really does work, that we've seen in most cases insurance paid for in full, is a definite reality. It's pain relief, really. And these are FDA-approved treatments. They're safe and proven to reduce inflammation and alleviate pain. Yeah, you'll have to get a couple of shots, and I know that can scare people. But the needle is extremely small. And after giving shots like this hundreds of thousands of times, you'll see we make it very easy. You're going to feel the relief that our powerful pain relief agents give you. They're pain relief drugs that solve pain problems. And the way I feel is that Rejuvenex should be the first stop for anyone living with pain in shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees. At $65 per joint, per injection, it's probably the most affordable pain relief option available that actually works. Rejuvenex Google reviews will tell you more.
Get ready to fiesta with Margarita Week at Blue Bat Kitchen and Tequileria, February 17th to 22nd. Sip on their loaded Blue Bat Margarita. Plus, buy any 2 handhelds and get a free firecracker chicken bow. Happy hour runs Monday to Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. and daily specials include $3 margaritas and free chips and salsa. Wrap it all up on National Margarita Day, Saturday, February 22nd with live music and more. Visit Blue Bat Kitchen and Tequileria in Milwaukee's 3rd Ward for the ultimate margarita celebration. Get all the info at bluebatkitchen.com.
Finding the special healthcare resources families need just got easier. Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network helps kids with delays, disabilities, special healthcare needs, and mental health conditions. Call toll-free 877-947-2929. Ask questions. Get answers. Connect today toll-free 877-947-2929. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Bucks return to action tomorrow night against the Clippers from Fiserv. Milwaukee's won 3 of its last 5 games in 5th in the Eastern Conference, 29-24. Wisconsin basketball crushed Illinois 95-74 from Kohl Center. The 11th-ranked Badgers host Oregon Saturday morning. Badger Sports Update sponsored by Siding Unlimited. Siding and a whole lot more. Number 15, Marquette blew out Seton Hall 80-56. Golden Eagles visit Villanova Friday night. Milwaukee also in action Friday night at Youngstown State. Spring training in full swing. Brewers had their full roster report to camp in Arizona yesterday. First game takes place Saturday against the Reds. Joe Buck makes his return to the MLB broadcast booth on opening day when the Brewers visit the Yankees. Take a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time-saver traffic. I-94 East at 68th to 70th Street. Right shoulder there blocked due to a disabled vehicle that is causing some slowing in that area. Again, that's 94 East around 70th Street. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. A cold weather advisory in effect for another hour for southeast Wisconsin. High clouds today, a few flurries later on. 15 for the high. Cold tonight, lows 6 lakeside, 0 inland. Partly cloudy, 24 tomorrow. Sunny, 27 on Friday. And for the weekend, partly cloudy skies with high Saturday, 29, Sunday, 37. 1 in Madison, 2 in Green Bay, 3 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:08.
Good morning, Wisconsin. So let's pour that coffee and talk to some experts about what's going on in Milwaukee, Madison, Washington, and beyond. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. It's the Political Power Hour on WTMJ. Here's your host, Steve Scaffidi.
Should we talk about the government?
Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy hump day to those who celebrate. I always look forward to my monthly conversation. Any local leader I have a lot of respect for because there's a lot of stuff, a lot of moving pieces, a lot of budget challenges, a lot of things that they have to worry about. And my monthly conversation with Washington County Executive Josh Shulman is always something I look forward to. Welcome to February 2025.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Who celebrates Hump Day?
I do.
For those of you who celebrate.
No, the better question is, why do you celebrate Hump Day? I have no idea. I love sort of the old phrasing that would,
okay.
Not that I'm an old broadcaster.
Because you're over halfway there.
Yes. Is that what it is?
The week is half full.
Now, if I'm only halfway there, I've got a rich life ahead of me.
Is there a song like that?
Yeah, I think so. Stop trying to get more songs.
Guess what day it is?
There we go.
Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on. I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
See? Look, Josh has already taken over the show.
What have we done?
What have we done here? All right. Lots to talk about. I know you guys are hyper-focused on election integrity up in Washington County. We've talked about a number of occasions before. Let's talk about the primary and, of course, the spring general election that's coming up in the first Tuesday of April, I believe. Where are you at in Washington County? What does it look like? What are the questions people are asking?
Well, yesterday was a bit slow.
Yeah.
Fortunately, those February primaries tend to be slow. But for us, we're already looking forward to April 1st now that we're past that primary, starting to talk about extended hours for in-person absentee. You remember we did that back in November, and it worked phenomenal. We had about 3,000 new voters out of 90,000. So, nice percentage increase. When you have a county that votes 95% turnout, I mean, there's only so much more you can get out of it. But no, it worked great. And so we're working with municipalities to do more extended hours and just give people an opportunity to cast that ballot in the 2 weeks leading up to Election Day.
I know you're a big picture guy because we've talked about so many issues over the years that we both care about and have strong opinions about. But one of the things I want to ask you about, when you talk about opportunities, ways that people can vote, mail-in voting, early in-person voting, You're for all of those, or where are you at on that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, flood the zone. Play. We have rules established, and I think we've got to take advantage of every opportunity to give people a chance to vote. I think in-person absentee, as demonstrated in November, is a great way to be able to do it. There's definitely improvements that could be made. I know Representative Scott Krug is proposing a whole number of reforms that can actually make the system better, I think.
Give me an example if you have one.
I think having a conversation about Monday count. You've got all these ballots that are processed in person or by mail. And, you saw a lot of municipalities. Milwaukee, I think, turned their results in at like 2 a.m. in November. The city of West Bend was like 5 a.m. It was a little embarrassing, but, that's part of that's because we had almost a 60% turnout on Monday.
I love the idea of doing that because Florida has been a shining example of how messed up a vote could be in 2000, and now they're the quickest to get their results, including presidential elections. I know there's Republican support for this, but the barrier has seemed to have been lately, as Devin Lemon, I think, was the one that sort of said, slow the roll on this. But U.S. Senator Ron Johnson has been in support of this. There's a lot of support, but we haven't seen it materialize in Wisconsin. Could we see that?
Well, I think we could, but it boils down to the devil's in the details, and that's the problem. I mean, you've been involved with elections. You know the level of detail it takes to make sure that every person's vote is counted and then accounted for. It's tedious, and so making sure all the legislators are informed to feel comfortable and having high integrity and high fidelity in our election process, it takes time. I mean, this is a democracy, this is the battle of ideas, let it play out, but I do think the overwhelming temperature is this is something that we should move forward with. Now let's put the best safeguards possible in and have high integrity in our process.
Totally agree. Washington County Executive Josh Shulman joining us after the break. I know you got some strong opinions about this. The Wisconsin Supreme Court is looking at this issue. Those of us who have lived in Wisconsin for a while and lived through the Act 10.
Yeah.
What's the right word to describe all the process? The drama?
Drama.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Melodrama.
I know you're talking about this tomorrow night at an event. I want to get your thoughts on that and where this story might lead to and why those of us who support Act 10 think this is a dangerous time in Wisconsin, given what the budgets are doing and what's happening with budgets across the state of Wisconsin. Josh Shulman, my guest, Political Power Hour 620, WTMJ.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
We love being a trusted friend in the community for those who need an attorney but don't know where to turn. Our clients aren't the kind of people who typically bring lawsuits. Our clients have been hurt in a crash or accident and need our help and advice. I'm Frank Pasternak of Pasternak and Zergabel. Jeff Zergabel and I are injury attorneys living, working, and giving back in our community. When you need help from exceptional personal injury lawyers, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com.
Those of us who are regular listeners of the program, and I'm always here because it's my show, know that Josh Shulman has his own walk-up music. You're only one of about 2 or 3 people that have that, I believe. Annie Schwartz is another one who's typically here on Wednesdays, but she's on assignments this Wednesday. So welcome into the studio, not only County Executive from Washington County, Josh Shulman, but the amazing Fran, who's communications director up there in Washington County, who does a lot of the heavy lifting. Let's not
most of it.
Yeah, let's
fabulous Fran.
Let's not just overlook that. There's a lot of heavy lifting, and she keeps me sort of focused on some of the things that we talk about, which I really, really appreciate. So thanks to Fran for doing that.
We're just the pretty faces for radio.
Is that what it is? Mark the tape. Let's put that in a promo.
Pretty faces for radio.
Promo. It's a great promo. All right, Act 10. Everybody knows the history of Wisconsin, all the drama that was associated with the implementation of Act 10. It has, for the most part, sort of, I don't know if simplified is the right word, but made the budget process more sane for communities and all across the state of Wisconsin. We know now that that's being challenged in front of the Wisconsin Supreme Court. The timing of when that might happen, whether they may rule on it, I think is still kind of up in the air. We obviously have a big election coming that could switch some of the allegiances on both sides related to that story. But I know you're speaking on this tonight, I believe. Mm-hmm. Where are you speaking at?
Richfield Roadhouse.
Okay. Is this a public event?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to hear about Act 10 from someone who actually knows the impact.
Come celebrate Hump Day.
Absolutely. Let's make it a thing. So you and I have talked about this before.
Yeah.
I want to hear your take on the significance of what Act 10 has done for counties, in your case, or communities in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. It's really hard to articulate in whole because it has completely culturally and fiscally changed how local government works. Culturally, there's a lot more collaboration, municipality to municipality, county to county. It really started to allow people to think differently. And that now, what has it been, 15 years, is deeply woven and integrated into everything that we do. Furthermore, fiscally, the impact is tremendous. And maybe the better way to look at it is what happens if Act 10 goes away. For Washington County, one of the biggest parts of Act 10 was it changed how retirement contributions worked. That was a huge component. It used to be that the county, every municipality, paid 100% of the employees.
Almost universal at one point.
Yeah, almost universal. I mean, which is obviously an insane benefit. It would not, if we went back to that, so it changed it to 50-50 split. If we went back to that, the impact just to Washington County government would be $3.6 million, about a 10% increase in property tax collections, for example. And then you extrapolate that across all the taxing jurisdictions, all the state of Wisconsin, you're talking about billions of dollars in increases. The governor talked yesterday in his budget address about, keeping property taxes low. This is the antithesis of that. So it would devastate school district budgets, city budgets, county budgets, technical college budgets. And what's scary is then, of course, that trickles down. We all collectively pay for those budgets. So, during a time of still continuing bite inflation and economy that's not still on the rocks a bit, it's gonna pulverize people's pocketbooks, and I'm very concerned for folks.
There's a lot of proposals that are thrown out both by governors and the legislature about what we should do with taxes in Wisconsin, and it's something that you and I have talked about before as well. When you look at all these operational referendums that are now coming out for school districts, and some are passing, some are not passing, the numbers are astounding. I think we both are on the same page in this. So the process is sort of broken.
Yes.
How we pay for things, how we structure our taxes in the state of Wisconsin. I've said for a long time, one of the things that we struggle with is keeping people here.
Yeah.
The way you keep people here is making it a low tax, very business friendly state. And I think Governor Walker tried to do that to some point because they actually hung it on the sign when you came into the state of Wisconsin, which the current governor removed almost immediately when he came in office. But we'll let that go for now. When you look at these questions about how we tax in the state, you're a county executive. How do you see it?
I think the big thing that we've found is that when government continues to grow and grow and grow, it ends up kind of sucking at everything. And so
thanks for the honesty.
No, it's true. I think you got to just get real focused. Many people have read the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, and he talks about this hedgehog theory where you just get real focused and really good at just a couple of things. And I think that's kind of where government's at right now. All of our financial models were built for the baby boom generation, continuing prosperity, continuing growing populations, continuing growing economy. We're entering an era now where that's just not going to be the case. There's less births than there are deaths now, and that if we don't make changes to that system, if we don't make changes to housing policy, if we don't make changes to attract people like you're talking about, bring our kids home, it's a scary picture 10 or 20 years from now. And unfortunately, even last night in the governor's budget address, we're talking about more spending and more programs and more and more. And instead, we should be talking about how do we get really, really good at plowing snow, taking care of roads, providing law enforcement, providing quality education where kids are actually being able to read at the appropriate age. If we get focused on those things and spend accordingly, empower people by keeping those taxes low, prosperity will drive itself, and people will want to be here.
One of the interesting developments we've had in the last couple of years is the fact that when Act 10 was implemented, I said at the time, there are things that we'll have to tweak down the road. And that happened with the legislature basically saying, you know what? We need to do a little more for the local communities. And it basically saved, if you're talking about where we're sitting right now, Milwaukee County and the city of Milwaukee, incredibly difficult budgets. Now, whether they maintain and sustain that, that success story of the last couple of years, we shall see. Because what happens often is when you fix something in some big cities, it's like a credit card to do whatever you want.
That's right.
That can't happen. When you look at those tweaks to Act 10, could we see something like that in the future? Could it continue to be tweaked to make it even more efficient for leaders and probably more importantly, residents?
Oh, always room for improvement, absolutely. And I think your illustration there about the city and the county is wise. Sage advice from a former mayor. Once you get that credit card, you start swiping that thing. I mean, you saw it with the county's budget. Within 1 year, they're upside down already, and they've got some massive projects coming. That courthouse is going to be quite the conversation. The city's not in much better position. But, I think it really boils down to we really have to think differently about a new era, kind of the next generation of how funding ought to work for local governments. I think in America, we push authority down as low and close to the people as possible. I think we need to reorient ourselves, take as much out of Madison as possible, and give the power to the people, and things will start to improve.
And for all the legislators in Madison, unless you're not paying attention, the mood in the country is to become more efficient. Matter of fact, you created an office to do just that. You can argue about how that's going. But
isn't that interesting? Right now, we're having this DOGE conversation at the federal level, and at the state level, we're talking about basically unwinding the same thing they're trying to accomplish in the federal government. Unbelievable.
All right, we got a lot more to talk about with Washington County Executive Josh Shulman from the 920 West Bend texter. Josh is a nice guy. Came to my door last year in West Bend. He told you, aren't you the guy on the Scaffidi show?
True story. I hear that a lot.
I love that. That's why we have him on. Well, that's not the only reason, because he's a smart guy. All right, we'll take a quick break here. Lots more to get to. Political Power Hour 620, WTMJ.
Wisconsin's afternoon news is here for you, bringing you the latest headlines with John McCure.
You read this audit, and it's unbelievable, it's depressing, and it's sad.
And diving into the details with Julia
30
Fellow.
areas identified as problems. Kind of disturbing to see harmful internal culture. These people are educating our children.
Tune in to Wisconsin's afternoon news, where your day's story unfolds. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. Only here on WTMJ.
Hey, it's WTMJ. Steve Scaffidi for Advent. I love talking about Advent because it changed my life. It could change yours. I had all the things that you don't want to have when you're talking about sleep, right? Tossing and turning, bad snore. My wife, Kathy, I love her, but boy, she put up with a lot of nonsense. I don't snore anymore. The reason? I went to Advent. 30-minute visit. They put me at ease, answered all my questions. They did a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed. They determined my problem, like a lot of people have, sinuses and nasal passages, breathing triangle. Just talk to somebody who did this, changed their life too. It's as simple as making a call or going to adventknows.com. They did a short procedure on me. I'm breathing better than ever, sleeping through the whole night, quietly sleeping through the whole night. And Kathy appreciates that. If you struggle like I used to, take the time to see how Advent can help you. To find out breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to adventknows.com, schedule an appointment today. Because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
The largest industrial trade show in Wisconsin is the PFMA Plant Engineering and Maintenance Expo. Industrial professionals in charge of facility management and maintenance, purchasing, or manufacturing will save time learning about important advances all under one roof.
For more info, go to pfmainc.com. That's pfmainc.com. The PFMA Expo. Free with free parking. Today from 10 till 5 and tomorrow from 10 till 4 at Washington County Fair Park in West Bend.
Grab your to-do list and head to Fleet Farm for Project Days, happening now through the 26th. Carhartt fans get a free $20 gift card with every $100 worth of Carhartt gear. Good on your next Fleet Farm purchase. Sprout Sweet Mix for horses and livestock is just $8.99 a bag. And save $50 on a Milwaukee M18 Compact Brushless Drill Driver Kit, now only $149. Don't miss Project Days for great buys on all things DIY at Fleet Farm, home of the best prices guaranteed.
When I shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, every time I come in, it's like a whole new store. It's because new inventory is arriving daily, all kinds of everything. And let me tell you, thrift store prices make buying easy. And helping others at the same time, that's icing on the cake. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
A few minutes before the bottom of the hour news with the great Connie Weber, who does some of our local news updates. County executive from Washington County, Josh Shillman, joining us. The governor of the state of Wisconsin had his annual. Is it annual or
annual?
Yeah,
biannual.
Yeah,
biannual.
Yeah, that's what I had to pause there. His budget address. He. I'll just give you some of the highlights. He pushed back against the president on tariffs, which I think is an important topic. Let's start with that one.
Yeah.
The concept of tariffs. Business owners of Wisconsin, I've sort of sampled what they've been saying, CEOs primarily, and they're taking a wait-and-see approach, which I think is the right way to approach it. Be prepared, but don't overreact to it. I mean, what do you hear?
I completely agree. I think if I've learned anything in the, what are we at now, 10 years that Donald Trump has been on the political scene, it's don't listen to what he says. Watch what he does. And that type of an approach from the business community, that type of approach from all of us is good. He makes all kinds of statements, and I think a lot of it is posturing in his negotiating style, and you just kind of got to wait and see where the chips fall, and I think this is a really good example. Tariffs are.
One of the interesting things that I took away last night is the governor, Tony Evers, has now called for the elimination of income tax on tips. Where did he hear that idea from? I just thought that was funny. And he's also talking about getting rid of the sales tax on over-the-counter medication, some other things. The tax question.
Yeah.
Republicans have proposed some pretty big tax breaks for all of Wisconsin residents, and they've actually come down on some of the challenges they've had with the Evers administration. Ultimately, I'll ask you the same question I asked the governor when he was on the show a month ago. When are we going to give some of that surplus back to the people that actually own that money?
Yeah. Well, let's reframe it a little bit. How much of the money of the people of Wisconsin do you need to overtax and put into your savings account every year? Because that's what they're doing.
Right.
The vetoes from the last budget that the governor did created a situation where they're intentionally overtaxing people. And in the middle of the highest inflation in 40 years, the state government is taking more money than it needs on purpose. The frustrating thing with this whole situation is, in my opinion, this is just bad leadership. And what I mean by that is you're a mayor. You don't make gigantic proposals and just drop them on the lap of the city council and say, ha, this is what we're going to do. Now vote on it. Like that's not how things work. You get in a room, even with people you disagree with, and you wrestle through all of the issues and you try to come up with something better. You saw Representative Voss, Speaker Voss, come out immediately and say things are dead on arrival. Well, of course, when you treat things like, everything's a zero-sum game, which seems to be the political environment in Madison, you find yourself in situations like this. Bad leadership.
Real quick, yes or no, will we see some sort of a tax benefit for Wisconsin residents, you think?
I think the Republican legislature will come with something. I mean, that's been their major theme. They've been pounding that drum. Whether or not it gets approved or vetoed again, to be determined.
Personal message for the governor. If they give you a tax cut for everybody, sign it. All right, we've got local news with Connie Weber. Before we get to any of that, here's the latest now from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky pushing back against comments by President Trump claiming that Ukraine started the war with Russia and that Ukrainian people have given Zelensky only a 4% approval rating. ABC's Patrick Revel in Kyiv says those comments echo what the Russians have said for some time.
President Vladimir Putin has been attacking Zelensky's legitimacy, saying that he does not have the legitimacy to be the president here and suggesting he needs to be removed for any peace deal to take place. Now, clearly, Zelensky is facing those calls not only from Vladimir Putin, but it seems now also from the Trump administration.
Putin today would not say when he thinks face-to-face meetings with President Trump will begin. Top officials at the Social Security Administration and the Treasury Department resigning after Elon Musk's staff demanded access to sensitive information from millions of Americans. Thousands of federal government employees have been fired so far. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:31. I'm Connie Weber. Last night in Racine.
We have some callers reporting that there was an explosion at this house. We're trying to get further.
A home explodes Drexel and Gilson streets, leaving 2 injured. Nearby neighbors evacuated. Not clear yet what caused that explosion. 1 person dead after an overnight crash near the Milwaukee-Glendale border at Teutonia and Mill Road. Killed was a 69-year-old. A 23-year-old has been arrested. A divided Wisconsin Supreme Court ruled that a Republican Party official lacked the standing to challenge the use of a mobile voting van. A single van has been used only once in Racine in a primary election in 2022. The Supreme Court ruled that the Racine County voter who brought the lawsuit, Republican Party Chairman Ken Brown, was not aggrieved under state law, so he was not permitted to sue. The lawsuit hoped to ban the use of mobile voting vans in any future election. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Markets are still down. Dow is off 131 points, 44,425. Nasdaq down 59, 19,985. The S&P 500 down 7 at 6,121. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Just a couple of broken down vehicles may be causing some delays. One's going to be I-41 south of Beloit Road. The right shoulder's blocked. I-43 north at the ramp from Howard Avenue. This one also off right. And I-94 east at 70th Street. Right shoulder blocked due to a broken down vehicle there. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. A cold weather advisory in effect for about another 30 minutes for all of southeast Wisconsin. High clouds today, a few flurries later on. High 15. Flurries continuing overnight. Low 6. Lakeside 0. Inland partly cloudy and 24 tomorrow. Sunshine on Friday, 27 for the high. Then partly cloudy skies for the weekend. Saturday 29. Sunday up to 37. 1 in Madison, 2 in Green Bay, and 3 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:33.
Great Midwest Bank has document imaging technology from James Imaging Systems, a 100% locally owned and managed business technology company. The bank's IT systems administrator, Michael Quizon, comments on the value of local.
We call on them at any point, they're there. We ask them any questions that we have, they're there.
James Imaging Systems, local business technology solutions, local support, local accountability. Luther Gray, Director of Ticket Operations and Group Sales for the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra.
If an issue does arise, they're very prompt, polite, and professional. It makes me feel empowered because I find it very easy to resolve something.
James Imaging Systems client, Al Leidinger, President of Matheson Manufacturing, summarized the benefit of local.
James Imaging has been a really good partner with us from the beginning.
Go with local. Go with James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com.
Get ready to fiesta with Margarita Week at Blue Bat Kitchen and Tequileria, February 17th to 22nd. Sip on their loaded Blue Bat Margarita. Plus, buy any 2 handhelds and get a free firecracker chicken bow. Happy hour runs Monday to Friday, 2 to 6 p.m., and daily specials include $3 margaritas and free chips and salsa. Wrap it all up on National Margarita Day, Saturday, February 22nd, with live music and more. Visit Blue Bat Kitchen and Tequileria in Milwaukee's 3rd Ward for the ultimate margarita celebration. Get all the info at bluebatkitchen.com.
Earn now, spend later during Blaine's Farm and Fleet's Blaine's Bucks event. Now through February 26th, rewards members earn $10 in Blaine's Bucks for every $100 spent in store. Redeemable just like cash, March 6th through the 19th. Start earning on long-lasting tires. Buy 3, get 1 free. Save up to $100 in consumer rebates. Plus, if you find tires we carry somewhere else for less, we'll match the price and give you an extra $5 instant savings per tire. Exclusions apply. See store for details. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Be an original.
One more segment with my friend and Washington County Executive Josh Shulman joins us once a month on WTMJ, Political Power Hours, where we're at. All right, so I love the fun stories because there's enough negative things and controversies and all that stuff. But this is a good one. It's where you're headed next. Tell everybody about it.
Yeah, heading up to Slinger. You remember a couple months back, I gave a shout out to the Slinger Orioles in the state championship. They were playing Rice Lake, who was, if I remember right, a 2-time state champ. And they beat them in a heck of a game, 31-30 in the last couple of minutes of the game. And so we're going to go give them a proclamation for being state champs. And then their head coach, Bill Jacklin, was named the state coach of the year through the Wisconsin Football Coaches Association. Yeah. And then he was named the coach of the year for the country from NFL and NFC. Yeah, it's awesome. It's so amazing. And he's a great guy. He's a Slinger guy at heart. The whole team was a story of love, and he loves the Slinger community, and we love them. So it is a lot of fun.
One of the cool things about being a local leader are these kinds of stories, because you get to know these people just from being around town and visiting them on their big days, whatever community you're talking about when you're talking about a county, and celebrating the achievements. And this is an achievement. I've been around these stories before where teams that I've known or leaders I've known, their team has won the state championship. It's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
There's been parades and all the stuff that goes with that, and I've seen police escorts when the team comes back. Those are the things that makes being a public servant, I think, fun, which we need more of, because you and I both know this. There's a real challenge to getting good people to want to be public servants.
Yes,
and the scrutiny is one thing, but the scorn that people get, people throw at them. Yeah. Not that we don't all have thick skins, but I want people to understand that there's a positive to some of these things. And this Slinger story is just one example of what you can do as a local leader to sort of celebrate the successes.
Yeah. Highlight the good stuff. I mean, this is the good stuff. It doesn't get much better than this. This and Zach Bond being a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
There's a West Bend kid who's got a Brown Deer connection. Those are the things that, really, like you said, make the job a lot of fun and spread the love.
Big stories in Washington County.
Hey, making it happen, man. Football stories on the gridiron.
It's not football season anymore.
Well, we're celebrating.
I get it. And are you up for any more awards in Washington County that I need to know of?
No, I should be getting the second Emmy in the next couple of weeks, so that'll be nice. And
look at this guy. I'd love to have an Emmy, but you don't get those in broadcasting.
We'll bring him in.
All right. You bring it in.
Yeah, we'll bring it in.
From Washington County, the tremendous local leader, Josh Shulman. Look forward to the visits always. We'll do it again next month. You have been listening to the Political Power Hour. After the break, we're scheduled to be joined. I'm saying scheduled because 2 weeks ago, he was supposed to be here. He's a very busy guy and an award-winning, I don't know if he calls himself a journalist, but broadcaster. Dr. Ken Harris will join us, scheduled to, after this on 620 WTMJ.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Heiser Automotive. You've heard me talk about all the great vehicles. I have the pleasure and the honor and the luxury of driving for Heiser over I think 4 or 5 years now. Right now, driving a pre-owned. I do this on occasion, and they let me do it. Trying out the pre-owned, see what that experience is like. And they're very low mileage. This one is a 2023 Chevy Silverado 1500 LT, less than 10,000 miles. All the bells and whistles, all the technology, especially the stuff you want to have on a cold day, like heated steering wheel, heated seats, passenger side as well. You can find all of their pre-owned and new vehicles on their website, Heiser.com, or just go into 5 great locations. They want to talk to you. How can they satisfy your vehicle needs? Whether it's purchase or service, body shop work, they'll kind of walk through all their great programs, Safe and Sound, Vehicle Exchange, Roadside Assistance for Life. One of many great reasons to go to Heiser for your vehicle needs. They're great at customer service. That's why they say every day, today's your day.
At the Milwaukee Auto Show, we have a vehicle for almost everything. Boat hauling, snow skiing, budget saving, and luxury wanting. The Auto Show has the largest selection of vehicles from different manufacturers all in one place. Shopping for your very first car? This is the place to be. The Auto Show is a must-attend for comparative shopping. At the Milwaukee Auto Show, we have a vehicle for almost everything, and we certainly have a vehicle for your thing. Baird Center, February 22nd through March 2nd. Buy tickets online, no added fees. AutoShowMilwaukee.com.
Ready for a smaller space, warmer climate, want to live closer to grandkids, or you're just sick of the upkeep? From downsizing to selling, Bruce's team has guided over 3,000 families with care and expertise. Call us today, 262-242-6177.
We love being a trusted friend in the community for those who need an attorney but don't know where to turn. Our clients aren't the kind of people who typically bring lawsuits. Our clients have been hurt in a crash or accident and need our help and advice. I'm Jeff Zergabel of Pasternak and Zergabel. Frank Pasternak and I are injury lawyers living, working, and giving back in our community. When you need help from exceptional personal injury lawyers, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes senior living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from Three Pillars resident Lola.
When I was new, I come in and sit down, and people join me. And you get to know people, talk about feeling welcome. Art class is first early in the morning. Right now, I'm also involved in being a production assistant with a theater group. Every month, they have a supper club with a different theme. First one that I went to, they had a luau. I am so lucky to have ended up in this place, and I think it's one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Schedule a tour today at threepillars.org.
Always look forward to these conversations as well. Dr. Ken Harris, hear him in the afternoons on 101.7 The Truth. I join his show every 2 weeks. He joins my show every 2 weeks, and he joins me on this Wednesday edition. Good morning, Dr. Ken.
Well, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. And I guess I wanted to focus a little bit on what you thought about what the governor had to say yesterday. This is a speech that is made to sort of launch the budget process. The governor makes his presentation. The legislature responds. They didn't have a great response to it, as you can imagine, led by Republicans. What was your takeaway? What stood out to you last night?
Well, first of all, I don't know if we have enough time, because I would start talking now, and I'd probably finish the rebroadcast of every single show on 101.7 The Truth.
There you go.
Till midnight. First of all, it made absolutely no sense. He did have some good things in here. The thing I don't understand is he seems to be stuck on K-12 education.
Yes.
We keep dumping money into a system that doesn't work, and it's starting to show that it doesn't work statewide. And I'm not trying to get political, but we've got a woman who I said at the time she ran she was the wrong person for DPI, and now she's proven it, and we're raising like millions and millions. He's already altered the last budget to add a zero or something, and now we're going to be paying into oblivion for schools, and you want to dump another 3.15 billion? Like it doesn't make sense.
I think it's part from where he's from. He came from the Department of Public Instruction, came from
Correct.
that role, and I think that's part of it. The other part is I think his voter base, whatever that is, whatever constitutes the people that like Tony Evers as governor, they want to hear that. But I think most, and I think I'm safe in saying this, and I think polling suggests this, most people in Wisconsin now are a little concerned with exploding budgets for failing school districts. And on top of that, we're seeing more and more operational referendums in communities, which is a direct pipeline to higher taxes. I think that's caused a nervous population in Wisconsin, but yet the governor seems sort of blind and deaf to that concern.
Those are perfect words. $119 billion, 20% increase. Why? when you already know inflation is going to come, but yet you increase it. It doesn't make any sense. And then to say we're going to have relief after bashing, quote unquote, rich people, which I don't really understand. You live in America and we are a capitalist society, but you bash people who actually take advantage of doing what they're supposed to do, make money. Now you want to trash them and take more of their money. So I don't get it.
As my previous guest just said, we, the taxpayers of Wisconsin, have been overpaying into the state, and I have not seen a plan from the governor that suggests that we want to return the money. As you mentioned, the higher taxes versus just giving the money back. I'm not sure why this is a hard problem to solve. We have surpluses.
Yes.
You shouldn't maintain surpluses at the level which was billions of dollars, by the way. Year after year after year. I understand the need for an emergency fund, but this is ridiculous, Dr. Ken.
Yes, it is. But he wants to freeze property tax. Well, we all know what happens when we freeze things, right? The local government decides to fill in that gap so you'll still pay the same thing. So that doesn't work. So I just don't understand. The bill's going to die in the Republican legislature anyway.
That is true. I want to ask you about Black History Month. It's something that we celebrate every year, especially here at GKB. With all three stations get involved. I heard you on with Vincent and Eric this morning, and you brought forth a couple women's, I think they're all women's names,
inventions.
Yeah, that I just hit on this a little bit because I'm fascinated by this, and it's sort of a glaring example of how maybe Black Americans, African Americans are not looked at in the same way as the originators of brilliant ideas that have sort of changed our country and our society and our culture.
Well, one of the things that we have to remember is there's an old saying in the African American community is that we built America. And so people say, well, how do you mean you built America? Well, many of the inventions at a time when we had Dred Scott, we had Jim Crow, we had all these things going on, but yet you had these people who had gone to college and were intellectuals and tinkerers and inventors and created something as basic as a folding bed, something as basic. Well, I don't know if I can call that basic. Fiber optic cables.
Yeah, that one blew me away because no one that I know ever attributed to an African American or Black American. I never heard that before.
And so what happens is many times we overlook it because it's literally become so commonplace. Like we don't think about Katherine Johnson as being the person why John Glenn could literally return from space within, and I think her calculation was off by 20, 30 yards or something.
Right.
Like who in their right mind could even think about calculating you going around the moon and then coming back and landing exactly in a certain spot? But it happened to be a Black woman who understood math in a way that other people didn't understand math. And so there's but because over time we just accept it. Oh, it was Katherine Johnson. Nobody really thought about, was Katherine Johnson white and Black? And I think that's a good thing because we're starting to get to a place where if you're great, you're great.
How has this celebration, this honoring of Black Americans, African Americans, changed since we started honoring or picking this month to sort of celebrate all the achievements and successes?
I think it's changed just to remind kids. There's an old saying in the Black community, what they see is what they'll be, right? But that's not really a Black community saying. That's an America saying. If you can see someone who's a teacher or a medical doctor or a talk show host or anything, if you can see it and someone else can do it, you can do it too. And I think that's what the importance of Black History Month is. Just like St. Patrick's Day, just like, I guess we don't call it Columbus Day anymore, but those types of days that are there to support the particular ethnicity, the race, the gender, whatever it is, I think it's great that we live in a country that we're broad enough to be able to do that.
He is Dr. Ken Harris. You can hear his great work in the afternoon on 101.7 The Truth. I will be on his program, not this Friday. A week from Friday, we kind of alternate on our shows. Always look forward to the conversation. Appreciate your wisdom on this Wednesday. Thanks for coming on.
Have a good one.
All right, Dr. Ken Harris joining. I always love our conversations on this show and his show as well. All right, after the break, I'll sort of summarize what I've learned today, which is a lot. We'll do that after this on 620 WTMJ.
While you rest on the weekends, we work for you. Wisconsin's Weekend Morning News with Libby Collins. The latest in news.
It's unclear if the process for offering people those type of buyouts is being properly followed.
Entertainment.
When you win a little statuette, it's a big point of pride.
And more.
I was under the impression that everybody loves Buc-ee's. Not so much.
Every Sunday morning starting at 8 on WTMJ.
Every once in a while, we get an opportunity to talk about things that we really enjoy. This is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. I've enjoyed, believe it or not, my weight loss process with Milwaukee Weight Loss. I've been on this journey for about 5.5 weeks now. I've lost 28 pounds. Yes, if you watch me on the monitor, you can see I look a little thinner. Not where I want to be yet. I still have about 20 pounds to go. It's the secret to losing a pound of fat every day. Their doctors have developed easy-to-follow weight loss program. Helps you lose weight fast, naturally, and safely with no drugs or injections, no serious side effects, no prepackaged meals or bars or shakes, all that stuff. And if you don't want to, you don't have to exercise. I just walk. And that's a great exercise that anybody should do. Their program can reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good. I'm going to be on this throughout the rest of this year, sort of maintaining. Their program costs half as much and works up to twice as fast as other programs. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Schedule your free consultation. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. Look at me. I'm a success story. If you want to lose the weight, schedule your free consultation by calling, I'll go slow, 262-449-1180 or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
We know that the people of Milwaukee are hard workers, that they're tough. But even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. If you've been injured, call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
What we've found is that when you have workers who feel valued, you get better results. This is why good people and good culture should matter to anyone looking for an exterior remodeling company they can trust. It's going to be your experience and the end result that gives you peace of mind, because you'll know your work was done by people who care. We realized early on that if we were going to change the reputation of this industry for the better, that finding good workers that you could trust to do great work was going to be the key. We're attracting good people every day because we take care of our people. We want to make sure they feel important because they are. And we're going to make sure you feel important and valued too, with excellent customer service and high quality work. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
A buck doesn't buy much unless you're spending it at Griffin. For just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. We'll even show you the invoice to prove it. Our only requirements, we put them on for you. Buy one or the whole set. The dollar deal from Griffin. Milwaukee, Waukesha, Fort Atkinson, and Jefferson. Griffin. The buck stops here. The deals on tires don't. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Fly me to the moon, let me play.
Great show today. Thanks to Washington County Executive Josh Shulman and Dr. Ken Harris, from 1017 The Truth for joining me on this Wednesday edition. Annie Schwartz will probably be back next Wednesday as we do our regular public safety feature. What I learned, not just from the show, Josh Shulman is a great example of a tremendous local leader, which is something we don't have enough of. Somebody that thinks not only, the stuff that's happening every day, nuts and bolts of a community, but also big picture stuff that matters for the states and the country. So a name to watch, as I always say. He's a candidate at some point in the future for a higher office. We'll leave it at that. I also learned this last night. I heard our president say that Ukraine started the war with Russia. He said it a number of times. So I guess my messaging for this sort of stuff is this. When you hear things from politicians that you love or hate, please take it with a grain of salt. That is not a true statement. Ukraine didn't start the war. Russia was the aggressor. They wanted to gain territory. Appears our current president wants to give them that territory and just sort of forget about it all and just sort of create a stoppage, even though the good people of Ukraine are going to suffer and thousands of lives have been lost. But I guess my bigger question is, if you can't get the details right, how can we trust the substance? And as much as I love government efficiency and looking at how we spend our money, people said, how can you not support DOGE, D-O-G-E, Department of Government Efficiency? I do support the effort. I talked about it 8 years ago when I said on this program, and I've said it every year since, every dollar we spend as a government should be looked at every year by Congress, who actually spends the money, creates the laws. And if we don't need to spend it, let's not do that anymore. If we need to trim it, let's trim it. But always with the sort of the context of how do we balance our budgets? I've said that for 8 years. I'm not changing my opinion today. How we are going about this current version of that is silly and way too fast and is not paying attention, as they say, the devil's in the details, to the details, including firing people, mass firing people, some that we actually need to run things. Not a good strategy, especially when you're talking about nuclear weapons, one, or some of the other agencies that have really important roles in our country's safety, security, education. I could go on and on, the economy of the country. So while I support the general idea of government efficiency and balanced budgets, always have, always will, let's be smart about this. Last thing before we shut her down and hand it off to Jeff Sherman, local news, of course, at the top of the hour and the latest from ABC, is that as we look at these issues, listen carefully. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be wearing some shirts that say, have messaging on them, just because I want to do it. One of them is going to be listen better. We need to listen better. Just because a candidate is your party's candidate, your guy, your gal, if that fits, doesn't mean everything they say is right. It's okay to disagree with your party. It's actually better if you disagree on the things that don't make sense, including saying things like Ukraine started the war with Russia. It's not true. No matter how many times you say it, no matter what forum you say it, it's not true. Whether a president says it, whether a reporter says it, doesn't matter. Not true. We need people brave enough on mediums like this, social media platforms, who are willing to listen better and not repeat things that aren't true. That's my message of the day. I think it's an important one. News is next, 620 WTMJ.
I haven't had anything to eat for days, and being hungry hurts.